What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another live stream for you guys. It has been a minute since we've been live for Tottenham content, and we got a massive bomber last night from Fabrizio Romano regarding Sandro Tonali, which we'll get into in a minute. But let's hear from Sim. How's Sim doing?
Yeah, I've been a bit poorly over the last 24 hours. That's why I'm at home at the moment. But look, definitely perked up when I saw that Tonali news. I'll tell you that.
I bet you did.
That is something that I still can't quite believe. We'll see how it progresses. But all the noise sounds really positive. But yeah, I'm not feeling well at the moment. Hopefully, I'll be back in the studio tomorrow. But we'll see.
Got to be England playing in the World Cup tomorrow. You got to be back.
Exactly.
So yeah, look, great World Cup as well so far. I can't believe I missed the game of the tournament at 5 a.m. last night, but apparently it was a cracker. Were you up for it?
No, I wasn't. I was sleeping. I've been sleeping a lot over the last 24 hours, to be honest.
Fair play. But yeah, before we get into it, let's say a massive big up to OK Jersey. Only 2 more days left to get your 15% off. That promotion is ending on the 18th of June. So if you want your full whack of 15%, you got to get your orders in before then. They are the best in the business. This is from them, and it's absolutely top notch. Sim's got a lot of clobber from them, so have I. He's wearing his as well. You can't go a day without wearing your OK Jersey gear. It is literally fantastic, and our England jerseys are due to arrive any day now as well. So very much looking forward to that, from World Cup kits to Premier League kits from around Europe, and you've got everything added onto that as well, like the training gear and the hoodies and the jackets, and it's all such top stuff. It really is. So how are you loving your OK Jersey merch, Sim?
It's the best merch in the business. The best replica shirts they got out there, amazing quality. So much to choose from as well if you go on the website. So yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing stuff. Go check it out.
Yeah,
okjersey.com.
Yeah, like I mentioned, this is one of your last chance to get your 15% off. That code does end in 2 days' time. So if you put your orders in today or tomorrow, Spurs15 is your code. As you can see, that is pinned to the live chat. The link is there as well. I see someone saying, do they deliver to India? I believe they do. They deliver worldwide, people. They got all the retro stuff on there as well. So if you're feeling nostalgic, get yourself to OK Jersey, because they've got you covered for any sort of football clubber that you would want or desire. So like I said, the code and the link is pinned to the live chat. The estimated delivery time, as people are asking, is around 1 to 2 weeks, people. So get yours now. Trust me, you cannot go wrong with OK Jersey. And you can customize all the kits as well with whatever you want on the back, or all the different badges that they do on the side as well. So yeah, they do ship to Australia as well. They ship everywhere, people. They ship everywhere. So get yours today. Someone's saying they can't access the site in India. I mean, that must be an India problem if that's the truth. So can't go wrong with a VPN as well. Can't go wrong with a VPN. So get yourself on a VPN and get your stuff from OK Jersey today. But let's get straight into it. Let's get straight into the transfer news, because there's big stuff happening at Tottenham Hotspur. We brought you the news yesterday that Spurs are making a move on Sandro Tonali. There's been more information about it. And you know things are getting real when David Ornstein starts piping up. And David Ornstein has tweeted this morning regarding Sandro Tonali. And let me just get it up. Just give me 1 sec. So he says that Tottenham Hotspur wants Sandro Tonali from Newcastle United. Positive talks between Tottenham and the 26-year-old. No contact yet with Newcastle. Transfer fee is the bigger challenge than the player deal. The Zerbi is driving the pursuit, backed by the ownership. Romano has followed on from yesterday, and he says Roberto De Zerbi wants Sandro Tonali at all costs. He considers him the perfect midfielder for his Spurs project. Tonali is ready to join Spurs and wants to play for Roberto De Zerbi. The fee Newcastle will be looking at is around £85 million, which is €100 million total package. Gary Jacob has said that Newcastle's valuation is actually £100 million, which would probably be, 115 million euros or whatever it may be. But it looks as though all the reliable journalists are saying that Tonali wants to join Spurs. He has an incredible relationship with Roberto De Zerbi. And it's all about kind of how Spurs and Newcastle can come to some sort of agreement. Ben Jacobs says that Arsenal and Man City are two other clubs that have made inquiries this year. However, Spurs are at the front of the queue for Sandro Tonali. So what do you make out of all this? Can you actually believe that something like this is actually going to happen?
Well, when we were speaking about Bruno G, I was saying I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs could convince Bruno G to come to them, but the big problem would be getting Newcastle to sell and also the other clubs. So the fact that Tonali is interested in coming to Tottenham doesn't surprise me. However, with Arsenal,
does it not surprise you though? We finished 17th 2 years in a row.
It doesn't. It doesn't, because we're still a bigger club, and they also didn't get Europe. Remember, they also didn't get Europe. So it doesn't surprise me that we could convince him to come. What does surprise me is that he would pick us over an Arsenal or a Man City. That's what surprises me. I can't quite work out why he would. Maybe he feels like if he comes to Tottenham, he's going to be the star of the show. He's the main man. The whole team's going to be built around him. De Zerbi is going to be playing a certain brand of football, which he really is going to enjoy and feels like will suit him. Maybe he feels like he's going to be star of something which something new, a new kind of project, which he believes could go somewhere. And maybe if he goes to Man City apparently about to sign Eddie Anderson for 120 million. Arsenal already have Rice and Zubamendi, and a lot of they've got quite a few options in central midfield already at the moment. So maybe he feels like he goes to Tottenham. There's maybe he feels like, okay, I'm going to be the main man there. And De Zerbi gets me. He gets how I play. He plays the football how I want it to be played. And maybe that's the case. But I still kind of find it very hard to believe that if Arsenal or City are match our bid, that they would be willing to, that he'd be willing to come here. Maybe it's a case that Arsenal and City are interested, but they're not willing to go as high as we are. We're more desperate to get him in. So maybe we're more willing to go to the 85 million, 90 million fee, whereas they only want to get him for like 70 or something. And maybe it's because of that. And if that's the case, then we've maybe can still a march on the opposition. For me, I love Tonali. I think he's mustard. I think he's the bee's knees. I think he's absolutely a phenomenal footballer. I think he's been brilliant at Newcastle. I think he gives us a lot of what we've been missing. In terms of I know I've seen a lot of discussion online about, is this the kind of profile we need or is it not? I think obviously, if you watch how he plays at Newcastle, they play a midfield three, and they play Guimaraes at the base, the six, with Tonali and Joel Linton roaming eights. Now, there's a reason why Tonali isn't at the base and Guimaraes is because Guimaraes just has. He's better at progressing the ball than Tonali is. He's kind of better at making those passes in between the lines. Tonali, but I think as well, another reason why Tonali plays that role is his energy levels are incredible. Absolutely incredible. He can run for 90 minutes. I remember I was watching a game, I can't remember what it was. I think it was Man United. He's literally 90th minute, then a breakaway. He's full sprint on a counter-attack. And I'm like, wow, this guy has unbelievable, boundless amounts of energy. But the thing is with Tonali, he matches that energy with incredible technical ability. And maybe it's not as good as Bruno, but I still think he improves the technical level of our midfield massively. And I think he does have a very good passing range. Maybe he's not like the most progressive passer, but he's very good with switches of play. He is a good passer. He is a very good passer, much better than what we have. But his engine is phenomenal. He does the defensive work. I think his defensive numbers are really good as well. So I would absolutely love him. If I'm being honest, I would love him instead of Paulinho, not with Paulinho. So I think if we are to sign him, it should be instead of Paulinho. And then get someone who's really good at progressive passing next to him. That's what I'd really want. Whether we do that or not, I don't know. But I also think that I can see why De Zerbi would love him, because I think I think he can get him to progress the ball better than he already is anyway, just with his coaching, because I think he's got the quality to do it. And I think his energy and that ground coverage match with the technical ability is just something we don't really have in the squad. We don't have someone who can cover as much ground as him and has as good technical level as a duo kind of ability. So I think he's brilliant. I think he's phenomenal. And I would be super, super excited if we were to get him in.
Yeah, I see a lot of reactions over social media saying Tonali's not the guy we want. You know, he's quite negative about it because, you know, you look at that two midfield and obviously Bruno is just elite, an elite ball progressor, an elite technician. But you look at maybe Sandro Tonali's stats from AC Milan, he was maybe more of the prime progressor in that team because they didn't have a Bruno Guimaraes. So maybe Sandro doesn't progress the ball as much or as well because he's got a Bruno Guimaraes next to him and he's just an absolutely phenomenal player at that sense. So I do look at Tonali and I think that his technical ability and his passing ability is still so much better than what we have at the football club. But I still think, you know, it's underrated a little bit. What people are saying, like, they don't want him. And I'm like thinking, what are you on about? How can you not want Sandro Tonali at this football club? Like, he literally shits on anything that we've got. He would be our best midfielder by some distance if we were to bring him in at this football club. So I just can't understand anyone that says they don't want Tonali at this football club.
He's one of the best midfielders in the league. He's up there. He's up there. He's phenomenal. And I think if we can get him in, if there's an opportunity to get someone like him in as well, you know, as you said, he's already spoken with Zerbi, and Zerbi seemingly, whatever Zerbi said has really convinced him that Tottenham's the right place for him, which is incredible if true. So, I think it's madness to turn your nose up at Tonali. I think you just can't do it. You can't turn your nose up at Tonali. He's too good. He's too good of a player that he's one of those where if you've got an opportunity, you bring him in. And I also think he can be moulded. He's not. I understand he plays a certain role at Newcastle, but I think we've seen under De Zerbi already that he profiles players in a different way to other managers. He can get something else out of players and other managers have as well. I think De Zerbi wants him. There's a real reason for it, and I think he's identified him he's identified his attributes as something that we could really use. And I think absolutely we could. Obviously, we look at our midfield options right now. Yeah, I don't know what that means. I mean, maybe he sees Gallagher as more of a number 10 for now. Maybe we don't sign Paulinho. We keep Bentancur. Obviously, Sarr apparently is set to leave, it looks like. So that leaves that would probably leave at the moment Bentancur, Gray, Bergvall, and Tonali, with Gallagher kind of in a hybrid 10 role. And then maybe if we look at that, could there be room for one more potentially?
I don't really care who makes way for Tonali. He's so much better than anyone that we have, you know. In that position, I think he's head and shoulders above Conor Gallagher, head and shoulders above Archie Gray, head and shoulders above Lucas. But like all these players, Tonali, and this is just something we're not used to as well. If we do bring him in, let's say, to go to what is a Premier League rival who is vying for the same spots as us in Newcastle, 26, going into the prime of his career, the peak of his powers, and taking one of their best players, that would suggest a major shift on the way Spurs do business. And I think it would be a massive statement of intent if we can get Sandro Tonali through the door. I think the biggest sticking point is always going to be, first of all, are Newcastle going to deal with us? Are they going to refuse to sell to us because of that dynamic between Spurs and Newcastle in terms of they are literally direct rivals in where they see themselves? And are Spurs going to be able to stump up that sort of money for Sandro Tonali and still be able to get the rest of their business done? So there are still big question marks there. And
will Arsenal and Man City convince him that they're the right place for him and all those kind of things? I think they said, didn't they, Tottenham, you know, actions speak louder than words. That's what they said, well, you know, in the Lewis family said in their statement. And we had this discussion, didn't we? Do you think Tottenham will in this summer, will make a bid, you know, a club record bid for a player, 85, you know, over 85 million pounds? I said I have a feeling they will this summer because they want to show that they're serious. And clearly they're showing that intent right now with this news of Tonali that they will. So when it comes to Newcastle, I think so. Sorry. First of all, I do think Tottenham would be willing to bid that on a player. I've got the feeling they would be 85 million because first of all, they want to sell a lot. There's quite a few players they want to sell. So there's gonna hopefully they're thinking there quite could be quite a bit of money coming in. They're talking about investment in the club as well. So I do think this summer we could see a bit. I think there's also been a willingness in other windows to spend the money. I just don't think they found the right targets. We know that they were willing to spend the money on Semenyo in January, and didn't quite happen. We know that they've been willing to spend the money on Gibbs White and Eze, but that didn't work out. So I think recently it has been a willingness to spend money, but getting deals over the line has been obviously a big part of the problem. So I do think they're going to be willing to spend the 85 million Tonali. In terms of Newcastle willing to deal with us, I think preferably they wouldn't. But I also think that don't they have PSR issues? Don't they always constantly have PSR issues?
I mean, they just sold Anthony Gordon for 70 million.
Yeah, true. But I also think if they can get 85 million from us or 70 million from Arsenal, they're going to go with us, aren't they? They're going to go with the highest bidder. They don't have any. They don't have any dog in this fight. They don't really care that it's us. I mean, obviously we're more closely rivals, but I think when it comes to a bigger gap, like I mean, I'm obviously speculating, but if Arsenal are only willing to go to like 70 and we're willing to go to 85, they're not going to turn down 15 million just because it's us. I don't see that happening. So if we're willing to stump up the money, I think, and we're outbidding those teams, then I think, I think there's no reason why they shouldn't sell to us if they're willing to sell, in my opinion. It's from all the noise I was reading from Newcastle journalists, they all think that Tonali does want to leave, and he also seems like this summer he wants a new challenge. He wants something different for whatever reason, even though he hasn't even been there that long. Was it? It's 3 seasons. So it's not like he's been there tons of time.
He had a whole year off as well, didn't he?
True. Yes, he had a whole year off with the gambling thing. So if I'm Newcastle, I'd be, he's obviously stuck by him and he got back to his best, and then he kind of wants to leave. So that's a bit frustrating, but apparently he does. That's the reality. Maybe they feel like if they can get that kind of fee, maybe they think like it's worth it. Maybe they feel like that's an overpayment, and it's worth letting go of him if that kind of fee comes in for him. So I do think there's a lot going for this deal in that sense. I think the big stumbling block would be Arsenal and City coming in for him, because I do think we're going to be willing to pay a big fee. That's the feeling I get.
Yeah, with Man City going to spend 120 million on Anderson, I don't think they're going to come in for Tonali for close to 100 million. I don't see them spending that on 2 players. Arsenal, on the other hand, he might look at Arsenal, Sandro, Tonali, and being like, yeah, look, it's a massive club, champions and everything like that, but they are stacked in midfield. They've got Declan Rice there, they've got Zubamendi there. Does he have a starting place in that Arsenal midfield? Whereas Tottenham, he looks at it being like, look, I'm going to be starting every week. I'm going to be the star of the show there.
Yeah, and as well, maybe Zerbi has, I don't know what he said to him, but clearly they might share similar visions when it comes to football, when it comes to how the game should be played.
I tell you what, mate, this Zerbi pool, we always talk about these pools, the Ange pool, this pool, that pool being unmatched. I mean, he has got players dying to play for us that in 17th. We've been set with no European football next season. It is nuts. You're looking at Tonali, one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. He wants to join Spurs because of De Zerbi. You look at Van Hecker. Brighton have just got European football, and he's dying to join Tottenham. Like, what is De Zerbi saying to these people?
He's got the Midas touch, hasn't he, De Zerbi? The guy, look, he's full of passion. We've seen it. The players have spoken about it. He is someone who, when he speaks, you listen, and he's full of energy, full of passion. He seems to be someone the players absolutely adore. And I think a few players said if it wasn't for him, we would have definitely gone down. And look, Tonali might be on the receiving end of another one of De Zerbi's little talks, because clearly it's incredible how this is. I mean, it's come out of the blue. If you would have told me 48 hours ago, would I think we got any chance to bring Tonali in? I would have said no. But when you think about it, I mean, no, I wouldn't say it makes sense. It doesn't make sense, but I mean, it's just madness to think that someone like Tonali would still be willing to come to Tottenham even after we finish 17th, and it has to be down to De Zerbi. Why? That's the reason.
I'm just trying to think like why, because all these journalists are saying that Tonali and De Zerbi have a very close relationship. Like, where has that relationship formed? Because I don't think he's ever managed him, has he?
No, no. Maybe it's just from the talk they had. Has anyone actually said close relationship? Those
Yeah,
words.
someone said it yesterday. I just can't remember who it was.
Um, Unless who was he at before Milan? Was he?
He was at Brescia, but De Zerbi never managed Brescia.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they would have crossed paths. I mean, obviously they're both Italian. Maybe they just know each other from those similar circles.
Yeah, maybe.
Um, it's hard to know. It's hard to know exactly where. No, I don't think he don't think he managed him. But maybe they just know each other. I don't know. It's hard to know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that is the news. It looks as though Spurs are going in hard for Sandro Tonali. I still find it very hard to believe that Spurs are going to get this deal done. But the board are seeming to put down a statement of intent. They're trying to back Roberto De Zerbi with big bids for Van Hecke, Savinho, Tonali. So look, the reality is we haven't got anyone over the line yet, and we haven't spent any money yet in this transfer window. So it is kind of a case of I'll believe it when I see it. We saw a lot of failed bids last summer as well. So it's all well and good having this interest and all this noise on social media, but we need to get these deals done, don't we?
Yeah, of course. But I appreciate the fact that we're moving fast and we're moving early and we're moving kind of large as well. So that's all good. 100% doesn't mean anything if you don't get the deals done. We also went for Semenyo in January and we didn't get him, so it doesn't matter if you who you go for. It's about getting them done. But I like where our eyes are at and where we're looking at, and these are the kind of deals we need to be doing if we're going to get ourselves back to where we need to be.
So people in the chat are saying they are both from Brescia.
They're both from there.
So De Zerbi was born there, and I think
maybe they played together. No,
surely not.
no, because De Zerbi is what, 46. He could have, maybe.
Well, it must be because Tonali came through the Brescia Academy and De Zerbi's from there, I guess. So maybe that's his local team. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of.
No, he never played for Brescia, De Zerbi.
He did.
Huh?
He did play there.
On loan for 1 year in 2008.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, we're both from there, so they must just know each other.
Yeah, I guess so.
But Richie explained their relationship in his video, someone said. You need to watch it.
Okay, we'll have to watch it and report back, guys. But look, very interesting news. Let's hope something can get over the line. And we shall report back when anything happens. So big news, big bombers happening left, right, and centre with Tottenham Hotspur.
What do you think it means for like our midfielders if Tonali comes in?
It means that someone's going to have to make way, or someone's going to get a very reduced playing time next season.
Like, but who? But what? Because this is quite unexpected. Do you think? Obviously, I would sell any of our midfielders to get Tonali, and don't get me wrong. But who? Do you think Paulinho rejoins still? Do you think maybe? You don't think so?
No, I agree with you. I think if we bring in Tonali, it will be a Paulinho replacement.
Quite a big difference in fee.
Difference in fee, but much difference in quality as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you're comparing Tonali to Paulinho, they actually fulfill not too dissimilar functions. I would say Tonali is like so much better than Paulinho technically with his passing and his ability in the centre. Paulinho probably does get around the pitch a little bit more, But I actually think energy levels and stamina, I think Tonali's probably more, to be honest.
I think the only thing that Paulinho has on Tonali is tackling. Tonali's better than him in everything else, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
literally, pretty much. I think when it comes to duels and stuff, yeah, Paulinho is probably stronger at them and better at them. But I feel like over 90 minutes, you'd still back Tonali to cover more ground probably than Paulinho.
He's just a much more modern day player as well, Tonali. I think like he is close to being the complete midfielder, Sandro Tonali. And I think you look at Paulinho at Fulham and you look at Tonali at Newcastle. Paulinho fills a role, don't get me wrong, and he performed at a very high level at Fulham. But Tonali, he just has so many more different facets to his game, so many more. And Paulinho is just obviously very specific. So as much as I said I would love Paulinho at the club next season, which is still true, I would still love him at the club. When you're being linked to players like Tonali, then you've got to say there is no chance you would want Paulinho over Tonali.
No chance. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what it means and who moves and who makes way. It's going to be a lot of movement.
Yeah, but I agree with you as well. Like if you're going to bring in Tonali, you still need to bring in that kind of elite passer next to him. And then if you do that, then all of a sudden you're looking at like one of the best midfielders in the Premier League, like with Tonali, an elite midfielder, an elite passer, and then you've got like Maddison in the 10 or Javi in the 10, whoever it may be. That is the regeneration of the midfield that we all want.
100%. And we've said, they've been saying for a while, haven't they? We want a big midfielder. That's what they've been saying. And I think Tonali fits that.
Well, go get it done. Go get it done. Would you take Tonali alongside Morgan Gibbs-White? Because Morgan Gibbs-White in the pivot, would that work?
I don't think you play Gibbs. I don't think Gibbs-White's a pivot player anymore. Really, I wouldn't say no to Gibbs-White because right now you're looking at our number 10 options. Javi's got an ACL, Maddison's coming back from an ACL, and Decky is who knows what's going on with Decky. So I also get the feeling we might need another number 10 for next season. So I'm not going to say no to Gibbs-White, but I don't think I would play him in the pivot.
The thing is with Gibbs-White, he hasn't played in the pivot too much for Forest. That's because they lack that number 10 in their squad. But I feel like if he was at us, he might play a bit deeper.
Just don't see him as that kind of player. That's not anymore. From what I don't, that's why when I watch him, I think he does his best work in the final third, to be honest.
And what about Alex Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I do think Alex Scott.
He's not an elite passer, Alex Scott.
Yeah, but it's true, he's not. But he is also very good technically. And he is a good passer. So he's not like elite, but if you do have, Van Hecker, Senesi behind him, Porro as well, with Scott and Tonali ahead of him, I think you could make that work. I think Zerbi could make that work.
People in the chat saying the guy to go for is Adam Wharton. I mean, I couldn't agree more, to be honest. Like, can you imagine that double pivot of Wharton and Tonali? That is mouth-watering. Yeah,
look, I said we'd go for one player for 85 to 100 million. I don't know if we'll go for two.
Yeah. I mean, Bournemouth want, 80 million for Alex Scott? I mean, they ain't getting that, though. But, look, we'll have to wait and see how it all progresses. But definitely exciting times. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding Sandro Tonali. Do you guys realistically think that we're going to get Sandro Tonali through the door? Because I don't know, man. I feel like I've just seen this show so many times before, and I am excited. Exactly, I'm excited, but I'm also ready for the disappointment. So
some people are calling him Eberici Tonali.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that. Look, we'll see. We'll see how it progresses. But let's move on from Tonali and let's talk about Jan-Paul Van Hecke. There's been an update by Mate Moretto on Van Hecke and says that Tottenham and Van Hecke have now reached an agreement on personal terms. The deal is now awaiting clubs to finalise negotiations. I mean, I felt like I've heard that report so many times since we've ever been linked with Van Hecke. I never thought personal terms was ever going to be a stumbling block as he's dying to play for Zerbi and play for Tottenham. But come on, just agree these terms already. We need to get these deals, start getting these deals over the line. The transfer window opened a whole day ago.
Yeah, I think Tottenham fans are already starting to get itchy feet. But yeah, I think we've heard. I think that personal terms isn't a problem. So this is not a surprise, is it? That Van Heck has agreed personal terms. We know he only wants Tottenham. I think that isn't an issue. It's just about getting that fee with Brighton, and obviously Brighton are going for Vuskovic as well. That's gone quiet a bit over the last couple of days. So I think there's still a few kind of moving parts to this deal. He wanted it done before the World Cup. It might have to be after the World Cup now. Having said that, there have been some deals like Cucurella signed for Madrid during the World Cup. Like things do happen.
I think
Um,
Sabari as well got the here we go yesterday or 2 days ago.
who?
Sabari, the Moroccan player from to Bayern Munich.
Yeah. So just because during the World Cup shouldn't completely rule it out. But I think if I'm Van Hecker, I understand if you do take that position. I just want to block it all out because World Cup is an unbelievable achievement for players, and they don't want to be distracted by anything. So we'll see if he's willing to agree a deal or willing to do the deal while the World Cup is on. Doesn't make a difference too much. I do think this will happen, but obviously Brighton are playing hardball, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Brighton to play hardball, is it? They are very good at their negotiations and at their transfer business. I wonder how it is all going to play out, because it seemed as though that Spurs were very close to the figure that Brighton wanted not so long ago, and just nothing has seemed to have progressed in the negotiations between Brighton and Tottenham. And if there is agreement on personal terms, then Van Hecker doesn't actually have to do anything or get distracted from the World Cup. It's all about the two clubs negotiating a fee. So I don't think it even matters that Van Hecker's at the World Cup and if he doesn't want to sign during the World Cup, because it's all about the two clubs negotiating. So I thought we would have heard something a bit more concrete on the clubs negotiating and coming to an agreement. That hasn't happened. I guess it's probably just the negotiations for Vuskovic and Spurs playing hardball over Vuskovic that is actually holding this deal up. They offered 30 million, 35 million euros, whatever it may be. Spurs want 60 million. And I doubt Brighton will go up to that figure.
Yeah, I don't see that happening either. So maybe they're trying to figure out if there is a deal that works for everyone, which I think there could be if Brighton are open to it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it'll be in their favour to loan him for a year or two. Maybe in the short term, but not in the long term. But look, we'll have to wait and see again.
You get a good centre back on loan.
Yeah, it's good for them in the short term, but then ultimately they've been building up a player, and for Spurs to get a high sell-on fee, or Spurs to get a ready-made player back in their team, and it's just not their model.
Maybe he plays in Europe and they win a trophy or something. You never know.
Yeah, true. But I mean, they can probably win that tournament next year with or without Vuskovic.
Maybe.
Next up, Spurs again have been linked with Behoya of Eintracht Frankfurt, and I think it's Jay Harris of The Athletic saying that Spurs are interested in Jean Matteo Behoya alongside Savinho, and Spurs have been in contact with the players' representatives but have not made a formal approach as of yet. And it feels like in the background at Spurs are just like running at 1,000,000 miles an hour. They're talking to Tonali, they're talking to Van Hecker, they're talking to Savinho, they're talking to Behoya. I mean, who's talking to all these players? Like, they must have so many people working on these deals.
I mean, it's a far cry from, Tottenham are doing this deal, prioritising this deal before they move on to the next one. I've always said, why can't you work on multiple deals at the same time? And this is what they seem to be doing, which is great. When it comes to Behoya, obviously talented winger for Frankfurt. I've always said, though, for me, I don't know about getting him and Savinho. It should kind of be one or the other. That's what I feel. And then maybe go for someone a bit more established. But, they seem to really rate this kid. So maybe it is a case that he could surprise a few people.
Yeah, maybe. Like I said, the only real time I've seriously watched him is against Tottenham, and he did look pretty good in that game and gave our defence a lot of problems on the day. So it's just about the scouting and think if he's good enough. But I agree. I've said it many a time. If we are bringing in Savinho, let's bring in a more established player alongside him. And I don't think Behoya represents that. A player that we were linked with in terms of Malik Fofana yesterday is probably more of the same, you know. Another young kid coming through with a big potential, but last year he was massively hampered with injuries, and because of that injury, didn't make it into the Belgian team for the World Cup. So I guess they fall into the same camp, don't they?
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, you go for someone like Savinho, then you also go someone like an Ndai or something like that, who's been playing at the top level, Premier League, and doing quite well. So I think that would be the perfect kind of thing to do. But I don't know. Maybe they just feel like we just need a complete regeneration of the attack, and with players we we think could do really well. Maybe it's a case that they think that Bahoya, the scouting, thinks he's underrated, and he actually could do a lot better than people give him credit for. Who knows?
And last but not least, you talk about regeneration of attacks. There has been some information regarding Matties Tell from Alistair Gold. And he says that before Tell departed on the summer holidays, he had a conversation with Zerbi about his future. And Zerbi made it clear that he would be counting on him next season, and he had no intention of allowing him to leave the club, which is interesting because it looks as though Spurs are going for 2 left wingers with Tell at the club as well. So it'll be interesting to see where they decide to fit him in and where the future lies for Tell.
Yeah, obviously he's a player who can play off the left and potentially up top as well. So
looks decent on the right.
To play, he was okay off the right as well. I don't really see him as a long-term right winger, but yeah, I think he was all right under Zerbi in the last 7 games. I actually think he had a decent season overall last season. Tell, I think a lot of people give him a lot of shit. I think a lot of it's to do with how Spurs were as a club overall more than him. I think Tell improved, was a lot more effective last season than he was the season before. Obviously, still got a lot of improving to do. Don't get me wrong, he's nowhere near the finished article, and there's a lot of things he needs to improve on. But I really like his mentality, I really like his attitude, and I think there's clearly quality there, which we did see on occasion last season. You know, especially late in the season, he was becoming more and more of a threat, and obviously scored that brilliant goal against Leeds. That shows what quality there is in there. So I think he's going to grow under Zerbi. I really believe that. I think under Zerbi, he can hopefully start to fulfill his potential. I still think he's got a long way to go, don't get me wrong. But I think as well it hasn't helped, you know, being here under certain managers, and the mess that we've been in hasn't helped him develop. Maybe is at the rate that we thought he would when we first signed him. But like, I just think a lot of people give him a lot of shit and think he's rubbish and this and that. And he's, again, one of the poster boys, isn't he, for like our lack of ambition and our lack of, you know, ability to attract the best talent. Oh, you know, Tell, another unproven player, and another one of these attackers who is just another Ng, another Nkudu. They put him in the same camp. I think he's better than that. I really do. I think he's a top talent. And I think he's going to grow under De Zerbi.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if Spurs are going to bring in 2 left wingers and potentially a striker if Richarlison leaves, then how much minutes is Tell actually going to get next season?
We have to fight for them, won't he? Like, if we get Bahoya in, who's to say that Bahoya gets ahead of him? Who knows?
What's the point of the signing then if we're going to put trust in Tell?
Well, we need also cover for the right wing, don't we?
Yeah.
So maybe we see Bahoya then more playing on the right. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I mean, obviously we don't know who actually we're going to bring in. You would think, I mean, maybe Savinho is more going to play on the right. You know, maybe that's the case. Maybe it's going to him and Kudus rotate, and Bahoya and Tell off the left. Maybe that's the case. It's difficult to say exactly what their plans are, but I think Tell should be part of our plans.
I mean, if that is the plan, Bahoya and Tell on the left, I don't think that represents a good enough left side, to be honest. And I think, yeah, definitely need someone more established. Because if you're going to bring Bahoya in to fight with Tell, I don't even think there's much difference between the two, you know. So you may as well bring in a more established one, and that starts to make a bit more sense if you want to do it like that. Because then you've got 2 decent players on every side of the pitch. Where if it's Bahoya and Tell, it's just 2 potentials on that side, isn't it?
Yeah, depends how highly they rate these kids, and Bahoya and Tell. But do they think that maybe next season they can be at a different level than they were before. Maybe under De Zerbi, they can find more out of themselves. Yeah, it's tough to say. I think in a perfect world, of course, do I want Ndai? Do I want a different, a higher level right now? Obviously, that's I think that's what I want. But yeah, I think having two very talented wingers fighting out for a position, bettering themselves to try and get in a team could also work.
Yeah, and you've also got Odegaard to come in when he comes back as well. That
Yeah.
makes like three all in like the same boat, which, Look, I do like Tell. I do like Tell, but I just think he's still very raw and still has a lot of developing to do. Maybe the best point of call is to bring in, a standout left winger and send Tell out on loan if you're going to do something like that, to get Tell regular minutes. Because I don't know, does it do one? I don't think it does wonders for his development if he's just going to be sitting on the bench next season.
Well, who knows? Maybe we won't sign Bahoya. Yeah.
But it looks as though, if you believe the rumours in the press, we are looking for two left-sided players.
Yeah. Well, depending on where we see Savinho.
Yeah. But you'd assume it's off the left if we got Kudus. But look, who knows at the end of the day.
We need a rival. We need also, but I mean, we can't just have Kudus by himself, can we?
Yeah. It depends. It depends how close to Kulusevski is to coming back, and if he's going to play part next season. Because if he plays next season, then that's the right-hand side sorted.
Yeah. It's tough to know. We don't really know what's going on with Decky, do we? How ready he's going to be.
Yeah.
I just think Tell's got so much talent, and I think he's got a very good shot on him. I think he could score goals for us. Yes, he needs more developing, but he's just been through development, in these last 18 months. That's going to help him. And I think next season we're going to see a better Tell. I'm confident of that.
Hope you're right. But yeah, that is your
Tottenham. Players develop, players get better. Happens all the time.
It does happen all the time, but it doesn't always happen to every player. So we'll have to wait and see how it progresses. I don't think it's a certainty, but it's definitely a possibility.
The kid is what, 21, 22?
21, yeah.
21. And he's been getting better. I think he has been getting better.
He has got better.
So I think he'll continue.
I hope so. I hope you're right. I mean, I can't conclusively say that's going to happen, but I hope it happens. And if he carries on this path, then he will get better. But we have to see it in front of our very eyes, don't we? All right. Well, that is your Tottenham update. I think it's actually very interesting when we go back to the Tonali thing. It's all about De Zerbi and nobody's mentioning Johan Langer or any sort of sporting director. It seems like Roberto De Zerbi might be our sporting director now.
This is what happened before. Who was it? I think it was with Tell, wasn't it? Johan Lang had the conversation with Tell, and he wasn't interested. And then Ange stepped in, and then all of a sudden, apparently, Tell was convinced. So I think that's been the story of Lang's career at Tottenham. I don't think he's ever convinced anyone of anything.
Yeah, agreed. I think the only one he convinced Bergvall to come. Don't forget about Bergvall.
Oh, of course, yeah, Bergvall. He convinced an 18-year-old from Sweden to come to the Premier League. Well done.
Yeah, but he had offers on the table from Barcelona. He chose us over Barcelona.
Yeah, good point.
But anyway, let us know your thoughts on all those news stories in the comments section below. Let's give one more shout out to the great OK Jersey people. For 2 more days and 2 more days only, you can get 15% off your OK Jersey order using the code Spurs15. Top quality stuff, guys. I'm wearing it. Sim's wearing it. And it is just absolutely fantastic. I literally wear them every day. It's just such nice stuff. And you can get anything that you want on there, literally from football shirts to training gear to jumpers to hoodies, literally whatever you want. So they even do nice tracky bottoms as well that come with the training gear that are very comfortable to wear and lovely materials. So make sure to get your order in the next couple of days, because that 15% is going to be going back down to 8%. So if you want the maximum bang for your buck, get your orders in over the next couple of days. That is okjersey.com. Spurs15 is your code. That is all pinned to the live chat as well. So get yours today, people. Next up, we are going to be having a look through social media. There's been a couple of reactions regarding Sandro Tonali, which I thought, it's worth going through. So first up, we're going to go to Bradley. And this was the pie chart from Tonali's time at Milan. And he said Tonali at AC Milan was used differently, and his stats then showed him to be a much more progressive passer than he has been playing under Howe alongside Guimaraes. Could it be he's not utilising his skill set from his AC Milan days and is being misprofiled? Perhaps De Zerbi sees it. What would you say to that?
I wouldn't say misprofiled, because I think he's fulfilling a certain role at Newcastle and he's been doing well there. And I think Bruno is the one who's been sitting a bit deeper. I think if you would have asked me when Tonali first signed for Newcastle, what would I see his role? I would have said he would have been the one probably sitting deeper and Bruno maybe a bit further forward. And that hasn't worked out. I think it's because of Bruno's his ability to control football matches with his passing ability and knowing when to quicken it up and when to slow things down. I think is a bit better than Tonali. So I think I can understand it. I also think Tonali has a better engine than Bruno, and his ability to get up and down the football pitch is better. So I wouldn't say misprofiled, but I also think, does it mean he can't do that role? No, I don't think it does. I think he is a good passer. I do think he has good awareness. He's got a brilliant passing range as well. So I think this guy can be someone who controls the game for us. I think definitely more than anyone else we have. But I think he can. I think I think he's got all the ability to do it, in my opinion.
I think what Spurs fans are worried about, that he's not an elite passer, and he's not an elite passer, but he's still a very good passer, and I think people are forgetting that.
Yeah, and he's maybe not an elite passer, but he's a much better passer than anyone we have.
Yeah.
Which goes to show how bad our passing is, but still, he's a very good passer of the ball.
Team Talk have brought us these stats of comparing Sandro Tonali to our other midfielders in Pape Matar and João Palhinha. And they say landing Sandro Tonali would be one of the signings of the summer. I mean, just look at that. I mean, the one that jumps out to me is the key passes. Tonali, 47 key passes to Sar's 10 and Palhinha's 6.
There you go. Yeah, that's the difference. That's his ability to an eye for a pass, an actual effective one, in the final third to create an opportunity. It's mad, the tackles, though, isn't it? Look at that. Palhinha over double. Palhinha has more than Tonali and Sarr put together, which is pretty mad.
Palhinha had the most in the league last season, I believe.
Yeah, it was insane. But I just think that's what Tonali offers, that real ability once you get in the final third. I know Palhinha got a few goals, but a lot of his good work in the final third is getting on the end of corners and things like that. And he's not someone who, in open play, you're going to give the ball to him and he's going to create an opportunity, is he? Whereas Tonali is that kind of player.
And even look at interceptions. We all talk about Palhinha being really good at interceptions, but Tonali made more interceptions than him last season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Tonali's good defensively. He's pretty good.
Yeah. So this one is from Mizgan saying Tottenham are looking to sign Sandro Tonali, possibly to replace or upgrade on João Palhinha. The latter is decent off the ball, but offers next to nothing in possession. Tonali offers better balance. Here, Bentancur would be a good double pivot for De Zerbi. I mean, it's interesting as well, when we were talking before about the makeup of the midfield, saying we need an elite passer next to Tonali, which is true, but we kind of disregarded the fact of Rodrigo Bentancur.
No, I didn't disregard him. He's just not an elite passer.
But look at these stats as well. Look at these stats. Even the carries, Tonali is actually an elite carrier, and
that's the function he fulfills at Newcastle. He's much more of a ball carrier because Bruno's got the passing down. So Bruno will pass it into him into space. He'll get on the ball, turn and carry with it. That's kind of his role. So yeah, I think what's this through balls? So how do they do team adjusted? I don't really understand that because it's saying Bentancur does more through balls than Tonali. Team league adjusted. Don't really understand that. Final third pass success. Bentancur is higher. Look, we know Bentancur is a good player. I actually think they would be a good pivot, him and Bentancur. I do think as well, Tonali would be looking at the situation thinking, I've just gone from Joe Linton and Bruno and now I'm being paired with Bentancur and it's a bit of a downgrade. But yeah, I think I wouldn't say it's a bad pivot. Bentancur is a good player. We know that. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just think we can maybe do better. But I do like Bentancur, of course.
Yeah, but you look at open play chances created. Tonali 47, Bentancur 12, Paulinho 1. That's mad.
Yeah, it's mental.
Even expected assists, he does better than them at. Yeah, and then obviously those carries, but his defensive numbers here are actually a lot worse than Paulinho and Bentancur.
Yeah, Paulinho is definitely the defensive numbers are going to be higher. Bentancur, what are these, percentiles or are they totals? Must be percentiles.
Yeah, it is percentiles.
Percentiles. Yeah. I don't really understand this adjusted. I don't know how you can adjust it anyway. I think Tonali definitely is good defensively, but yeah, Bentancur, Paulinho also quite good defensively as well.
Yeah. Brian Daigle says that I'm honestly baffled by some of the Tonali takes. If we were still rocking peak Pochettino's midfield of Dembele, Wanyama, Dele and Eriksen, I'd understand the hesitation, but we've spent years trying to fix our midfield. Tonali exactly the caliber of player you jump at.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. Tonali is just one of those things where, in terms of is he what we need? It's not about that. It's about who do we make, who goes to make room for him. That's the question. Not is he what we need?
Exactly.
So, of course.
BLTHFC says, funny how a few tacticos claim Tonali is an upgraded Gallagher and everyone runs with it. Not the best passer, but a lot of that is down to Howe's system. Would be a coup for us. Make no mistake about it. Incredible signing for a 17th place side, but I don't think we pay up.
I don't see that. Sorry, don't see it on the screen.
It's under the Sonny one. Oh. I think you might need to refresh.
Why is it not there?
Don't know why it's not there. It's not there.
No.
Go to BLTHFC.
Maybe you need to refresh, Ben.
BLT. This one.
Yeah, go down. Maybe he's deleted the tweet. Let me try go into it. Yeah, he's deleted it.
Why? What did it say?
It said, funny how a few tacticos claim Tonali is an upgraded Gallagher and everyone runs with it. Not the best passer, but a lot of it is down to Howe's system. Would be a major coup for us. Make no mistake about it. Incredible signing for a side that finished 17th place, but I don't think we pay up.
Maybe so. What, he's deleted it, has he? He thinks he's wrong. I think that's not a bad point when it comes to how system isn't based on controlling the game and possession. It's about being intense and aggressive. So I think obviously Tonali fulfills a specific role in that, and so does Bruno. But yeah, I mean, there might be something to that.
Newcastle Fans TV, our good friends at Newcastle Fans TV, Lee has quote tweeted Romano's post about Tonali, and he says, a team that finished in 17th the past 2 seasons. And you got to look at it from a Newcastle fan perspective, and they'll be like, this team finished 17th twice in a row. How are they able to sway one of our best players?
Well, not just that. Newcastle finished above us, 2 seasons in a row now, haven't they? And we finished 17th. and all of a sudden he's got his eyes set on us. But food chain, mate. Get in. They're in the food chain. As look, reality is, we're a London club. I know Newcastle have done very well recently, but if you take over a longer stretch, like the past 10, 15 years, who's been in Europe more? Who's been challenging near the top more? It's Spurs. We've got a bigger fan base. There's also a night. I don't know if you've seen this video of him looking at the Newcastle gym when he first turned up, and he said that the Milan one was bigger. Well, you wouldn't have a problem with the size of our gym. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah,
We've got nicer facilities. And also, we don't have these constant PSR issues looking to, they've just sold Gordon and they're looking to sell their best players. He's probably thinking, what's going on here? Well, we're supposed to be kicking on and we're selling our best player. So he's maybe thinking, maybe it's time for something new. Maybe it's time to go to a team that really, that potentially could fight near the top. And maybe he sees us as that kind of team, which is, I mean, most Spurs fans don't, but maybe he does.
I find it a bit crazy, though, to think about it. Like, with Newcastle made the strides that they have done ever since the ownership change, and to get down to this point in 2026 where they could potentially sell two of their best players in one summer window, Tonali and Anthony Gordon. I think that's nuts to me. Like, they're supposed to be on the upward trajectory, and that's not what clubs on the upward trajectory do.
Yeah, I think it must be PSR problems, isn't it? And I also think that they have spent a lot of money. I mean, what this is going to be. They're not going to be in Europe next season. They don't have the revenues that we do. That's the truth. We all laugh and joke about NFL and Beyonce, but it helps.
True. George Achillia says, one final thing on Tonali for me. Just because a player hasn't done progressive passing at one club doesn't mean he won't do it for another. In fact, data tells a very different story during his time at AC Milan. Progressive passing per 90 was relatively high, with dangerous passes per 90 being very high. You can even see on the final image just how many enter the opposition box. Now, the low accuracy would be a little cause for concern, but I'd expect De Zerbi's automations in midfield to increase that significantly, as the majority of the game will be based around short, secure passing to bait the press. The second image shows typical movement during his time at AC Milan, pulling out wide to the right-back position to allow the right-back to push forward, perfect for Pedro Porro, and exactly how Roberto De Zerbi used Paulinho in the last 7 games of the season, which also made Pedro Porro flourish. Look, this transfer might not come off and we might have to look elsewhere, but I'm just trying to say, be wary looking into a player at just one club who play very different style of football.
Absolutely, because De Zerbi's style of football is very different to what Howe wants to do. They're very, very different styles. So I think he's spot on. I think if you just watch Tonali play, you can see there's a player in there he's got an amazing eye for a pass. I really believe that, and I think he can do the job De Zerbi asked him, no problem. I'm not worried about that.
Gradient Sports says Sandro Tonali is renowned for his physical intensity, but he would also bring some passing quality to Tottenham. His 25-26 passing grade of 74.5 would rank first among all Spurs midfielders. So what is this actual passing grade based on? I'm not actually too sure, but he would rank above anyone else in the Spurs squad.
Doesn't surprise me. But that's what he does. He brings a better balance. He's got the unbelievable physicality, and his passing is much better than all our players anyway.
We're going to end off on this one, and this is a cracker for you guys. So Geordie Josh took to social media. He's got a Sandro Tonali shirt there in the background, and he says, one thing for sure, Spurs are really lucky that they're located in London. Not saying they aren't a big club, because obviously they are one of the biggest in the country, but that's such a luck out. So I want to go to his original tweet, actually, where he posted this video. I'm just trying to find what he said. Oh, it's way down the list.
What
This guy
on
tweets a
earth?
lot.
And what is Fabrizio Romano on about Yaba?
It's here. You got, oh,
Now, I wanted to see what he said in text along with it. I don't. Maybe someone just clipped him. But let's watch the video because I think it's fantastic.
What on earth? And what is Fabrizio Romano?
Can you hear
on
it?
about Yaba?
I can't hear it.
Bamboozled
I can
by
now.
this news. I don't think I've ever seen a more bizarre
No, I
transfer
can't.
link in my life, and it genuinely looks serious. Never mind Fabrizio Romano, who has been quite sus for, getting paid by agents, unsettling players. One of the most credible journalists in Spain, Matteo Moretto, has said that Tottenham are ready to give the keys to Sandro Tonali as a part of their new project, and Roberto De Zerbi is pushing for the player. I don't know whether to laugh or take this seriously. And Matteo Moretto has also said that Sandro Tonali is open to the move. Am I losing my mind? I'm staying up late to watch the rest of the World Cup, but I know I'm not sleep deprived. I am seeing this right. I am seeing that Tonali is open to join Tottenham. I'm seeing Fabrizio Romano say that he's ready for the.
It's just that look at the beginning when he's like so shocked and he looks back at his shirt and he's like, "What?"
I feel like I'm going mental.
not this
If Sandro
Tonali.
Tonali joins Tottenham, but I don't know what
Surely
I do for
not.
myself. Look, Sandro
You
Tonali's
got a
had
feel
rough season,
for,
but we all know the capabilities that man
for
has.
Newcastle fans, but it was similar with Spurs when, when we
a lot of Newcastle fans have
when we
criticised him,
finished
but,
above Man
we
City
don't
3
forget
years in a
the
row.
ability that man has.
Kyle Walker still went there when even though we were above them, we were probably a better team than them at the time. Kyle Walker still thought I'm more likely to win something there than the club I'm at now, and that's just the food chain. So I think Newcastle fans, it's unfortunate for them that we're just Tottenham and that's it.
It's true, but I mean, we were literally battling with relegation last year, survived on the final day. I mean, it's a bit different. Like Man City was still challenging for Europe.
I get that, but even if they won, Walker might still have gone. And clearly, yes, we're battling relegation, but you can see now we've got the Zerbi. Things are going to change. Things are going to be on. We're going to be on the up. We're making some serious signings, and I think we're going to be a different team next season. I think other players are looking at it thinking, I agree.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I've just seen a report from Matty Moretto saying Sunderland and Nottingham Forest going for Kefren Turam. I was like, what?
Sunderland and Forest.
That's crazy.
That's a bit of a change.
And by the way, complete side point, but what the hell is Thomas Tuchel cooking up here with bringing in Trevor Chalobah over injured Livramento? Like, is he nuts? Like, seriously, is he just calling up his mates at this point? Like, what has Trevor Chalobah done to come in as the backup right back first and foremost when he's got like players like Trent Alexander-Arnold, Lewis Hall, all these top players, and he's bringing in Trevor Chalobah? Just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I don't really get it. He's bringing in someone he knows and he trusts, but that doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me. Chalobah is so average, man. He is so average. Chelsea want rid of him. I don't know why Tuchel's bringing him up, but he's lucky. He's lucky he's got the call.
Mad, absolute mad. Oh God. Any other bombers while we wait? Come on. Doesn't seem that way.
Should we get Daigle on?
Daigle? Is he there?
Yeah, I need to send the link.
All right, let's bring Daigle on.
Just give it a look.
Who wants a bit of Daigle action? I know you guys want a bit of Daigle action. They're saying Trent can't defend. Yeah, fine, Trent can't defend, but look what he brings to you in attack. Like, come on. Like, a year ago, it would have been unfathomable to say Trent not making it into England squad. Unthinkable. And now, he's not even like third choice. They're bringing in Trevor Chalobah ahead of him. What are we doing?
They just refuse to pick him, don't they?
Madness. Tony Bone says, I ordered 8 tops with your discount code. Big up, lads. Big up to you. Come on. You're getting some high-quality merch, high-quality football clobber straight to your door very, very soon. Who else is going to make use of that 15% discount before it runs out in a couple of days' time, going back down to 8%? I know you want to, guys. Cheap stuff already, but when you add that 15% off, it gets even cheaper, guys. Go to that link in the live chat, okjersey.com. 15% off using the code Spurs15, people. And the Spurs kits are due to be released this week. I think on Friday, 9 in the morning, is the official Spurs launch of the new kits. And I'm sure OK Jersey will have you covered as and when that does happen. So trust me, guys, you want to get in on the act before it's too late, before the 15% deal does run out. You really do.
All right, I think I'm gonna go and I'll be replaced by Daigle.
Oh, okay.
Substitution been made here in the We Are Tottenham TV studios, replacing. What number do you want to be, Sim?
21. I always like the number 21.
21. Replacing number 21, Mr. Simeon Daniel. Number 8, Brian Daigle. How you doing, Mr. Brian Daigle?
I am doing good, brother. I am doing good. I hope everyone in the chat is. I'm in a fantastic mood, loving life, and now I get to spend some time with you and the We Are Tottenham TV army. Wishing Sim better. I know he's not feeling well, so wishing him a speedy recovery. And now I get to spend time with you, bro.
Big refuah shalema to Sim. But Daigle, we react. I don't know if you saw, but we reacted to your tweet on social media just now regarding Sandro Tonali.
Yep.
And I'm in full agreement with you. I just can't get my head around any sort of negative reaction to this kind of deal. Even if he's not the elite passer we need, he's still a massive, massive upgrade on what we've got. Let's assume that we're going to get this deal over the line, because obviously we know we know too many times with Tottenham Hotspur this might not happen, and there's probably a good chance of it not happening. But with Spurs trying to go and get one of Newcastle's best players, what represents a massive, massive upgrade on what we got, this is what we've all been crying out for so long with this board and this ownership. How can there be any negative reaction towards it?
So this is the thing. I'm kind of putting it in 2 categories. So the first category, you've got the speculation, and I understand every single Spurs fan that goes, "Oh, here we go, another name, bullshit. This ain't going to happen. This is Enoch. This is this. This is." I am totally with them. I totally, utterly get it that we've been down this road many a time with these excellent players that we're linked with. We hear that there's rumours, there's legs behind it. Blah blah blah, and I understand the skepticism. You can't be a Spurs fan and say, oh, there's no trust, faith, belief, confidence. But then the thing I'm not getting is people saying that he wouldn't be a good fit for Tottenham, or what does he do for Tottenham? That's the bit I don't get. This guy comes in, should he drastically improves our midfield. Like I said, if we were in peak Poch time now, let's just pretend we got the peak Poch team in peak tip-top condition, and you look at the 4 that I mentioned, Wanyama, Dembele, Ericsson, Dele, and we're bringing Sandro in, you'd probably say, I wouldn't put him ahead of any of those 4, but he certainly adds strength and depth to that 4. With this midfield, he walks right in. He's like the first midfielder you mentioned, and he revitalises this midfield.
Yeah, completely.
I don't understand like I said, I understand the oh, here we go, I've been burnt before. I understand all that, and you can't be a Spurs fan and say you don't understand that. But what I don't understand, and I saw the stats you were showing, how he doesn't walk in and improve this football team night and day is the thing which I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it as well. Any club in the Premier League, I think Arsenal would be happy to have him. Liverpool would be happy to have him.
Yep.
I think Man City. I think he goes into any club in this division and makes an impact. Look, there's question marks. Would he start for all of them? Maybe not. but I still think he makes a major impact in any of those clubs he goes to. So,
absolutely, and like he would be a breath of fresh air around the place. There's a player that can pass, that can tackle, that literally hold his own with strength. He's got a lot of tools that we've been lacking. And we look at our midfield right now, and yet you look at the injuries we've had. You look at that again, Pete Pochettino, even Conte, and you look at this team now. Bergvall and Gray, who have been pushed in at the deep end because we've gone down the youth. Bissouma, who's no longer here. Bentancur, whether Paulinho is dead in the water should Tonali come in, is here or there. And then you look at the front of Kudu, Simmons, Maddison, who can't stay fit. This guy walks into this team. Like, literally, it's not even a... He walks into this team. Other fans have been saying, oh, if you're going to put this money in, go for Wharton, blah, blah, blah. But obviously, it's not as easy as that. Should this player get over the line, and should we see him holding the Spurs shirt, this will be... If Romano gives a here we go, I'm not going to believe it because of the Gibbs White thing until he's holding the shirt. But should he be holding a Spurs shirt, this is a mammoth signing for this football club. Yeah. Should it materialise.
And you look at it as well in terms of what it signifies as well, because Newcastle finished above us in the last 2 seasons. We've obviously battled relegation last year, finished 17th the year before. Yep. Newcastle probably see themselves as kind of ahead of us right now. And if we go and get one of their best midfielders in the age that he's at, 26 years of age, I don't remember the last time we've gone to a Premier League club that see themselves on a level playing field as us and gone to get one of their top players. I don't think it's ever happened.
Well, I think one thing you have to look at differently this window as well is we are heavily focused on Premier League talent at the moment. But that's just the way it is at the moment. Rumours, whatever, which is unheard of. Like you were saying, should he come in? And you look at it, we've wanted to be around these talents. And I think bigger than what it symbolises for bringing him in, as in what it does for the team, I think for fans, even like myself, do I think everything has changed because one side? No. But we lost out on Eze. We lost out on Gibbs White for whatever the reasons and the nonsense that went on behind it. Should Spurs land a Tonali? Should. A lot of Spurs fans will turn around and go, do you know what? That is, you can't deny, that is when we're talking marquee signings,
it's a statement.
Or statement
it's a major
signings.
Statement.
That will make, because every time we hear these rumours with these players, and I'll be at the top of the list for this, going, oh, here we go again. Let's just see the names. Here we go. We'll have a, we tried, blah, blah, blah. But should this deal get over the line, I, for one, will be like, bloody hell, that now go do it again.
Yeah.
That you set the bar. This is what we've been demanding. This is what, go do it again. So I think the impact this could have on the fan base, I'm not saying people will go ENIC in all of a sudden, because I certainly won't. But they said our actions will speak, or whatever the word it was they said. Should a Tonali come, should a Tonali come, it is probably one of the big, I mean, I can't remember the last biggest, I mean, who would you say was the last biggest signing, like, of this magnitude?
Probably Van der Vaart.
Yeah, you're probably, and look how long ago that was.
But even Van der Vaart was past his peak. Like, I can't remember the last time we've signed a player like that in his peak.
Yeah, I mean,
he's 26 years of age.
I'm in total agreement. And now we've just got to see. The great thing with this one as well, if there is legs to it and blah, blah, is he's not in the World Cup. Like we've got with Savio, which has gone quiet, whether it reignites or whatever.
He's not at the World Cup either.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying if they go through with this one and they get it done, because obviously I think there's a lot more interest in Tonali than there is in Savinho. So if Spurs are going to act on this one, they're going to have to act quick. After what we saw with Eze, I know he wanted Arsenal, whatever, but we need to be very, very quick with this, because if people get a sniff of it, that it's progressing, or if we stall, then we could have a thing that normally happens, and then we're all in trouble.
Yeah. So
then the doubts again, and then it just adds on again. Oh, we've done it again. We've messed up. We've let another one slide through the net. So Spurs have got to land a big fish this summer, a real statement, marquee, whatever word you want to use. This man would be one.
We need to land multiple big fishes, to be honest, starting with
Yeah.
Tonali. Next one, Van Hecker, you know. And I think it's crazy as well when you think about it, when you've got these players looking at Spurs, desperate to come, like a Van Hecker. Tonali's been said he wants to move to Tottenham to play under Roberto De Zerbi. It's just like you can't run away from that big six status, can you? Like, no matter what other clubs, you know, they're doing better than us, but we're still able to attract their top players.
Yeah, I saw quite a few Arsenal fans going on about it, going, "Oh, why the hell would he want to come to Tottenham?" And then a Spurs fan just put European pedigree, and I was like, "Mic drop." Forget the top four, European pedigree. Not that we're in Europe, but like you said, there was a reason so many people wanted us down last season.
Yeah,
there was a reason that everyone's going, "Oh, there's a conspiracy," because of the size of this football club and being an ever-present in the Premier League, and that status was severely tested this year. Obviously 17th, but it weren't going to happen the prior season. It was severely tested to the limits. So to attract a player like him, and obviously the money's going to have a massive part in it. And I even saw, I don't know if it was Ornstein or Romano, that said the personal thing isn't the problem, it's the price of the fee. Obviously he will be on the big bucks immediately. The money is there. We all know it's there. Spurs just have to stop this going low or whatever and just go, right, here it is. For a player like this, you need to go, right, what do you want? Okay, here it is. And away you go. And get it done before the other fish come around. Hopefully it will have a ripple effect. Will it is another question with this ownership, but that will be a signing that will make the Spurs or the football in the Premier League go, "Oh my God, Spurs can still attract. Spurs can draw. Look what they've done." This will go down as a massive coup of the entire window if it gets done.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you genuinely believe Spurs are going to get this over the line, and Spurs are actually going to stump up that sort of money? Because we're talking about smashing our transfer record. What is our transfer record? What, Solanke with 65 million? Yeah. They're talking north of 85 million pounds, close to 100 million. Are Spurs actually going to do this? Do we have it in us to actually go and do this?
Yeah, I read out a tweet. I can't remember who it was, but Moretto, I think it was, that said Newcastle were saying 100 mil. Or up to, so it'd probably be 80.
Gary Jacob.
Yeah, that's it. Gary Jacob. So yeah, you're looking around that fee. And I said on Tottenham on tour just before, I was like, we've heard all these bullshit, we've heard all the nonsense, we've heard all the this, but sooner or later they have to do it. Because if they do not do it, whether it be Tonali, Gibbs, Wyatt, a striker, whatever, the fans will be unrest again. And we're back to square one. So sooner or later, for their own, they're going to have to, with their own words of actions will speak louder than words. They're going to have to reel one in, because if they don't this window, there will be murders. There will be anxiety. There will be, you know what it'll be like in that stadium and at away games if they don't land a big fish. And as we keep saying, they need to do it at some point. Hopefully they'll do it this summer. And Tonali would be a very welcomed addition to the Tottenham Hotspur playing squad.
Yeah, let's bloody hope so, mate. Let's bloody hope so.
I hope it kills us, brother.
Always. As soon as I heard this report last night, and I was like, nah, there's no chance this is happening. No chance in the world this is happening. And then you start to hear more saying, oh, Tonali really wants to play for De Zerbi. Tonali is open to a move to Tottenham. And then you start believing, and I'm like, oh, this could actually happen. So I'm ready to get my heart broken all over again. I really am.
Oh, mate, I woke up at 2:30 a.m. your time in the morning to get ready for my shift. And I saw your message. You're still about, because I didn't know what the news was. And then I said, and then literally I started walking to my bus stop. I was like, Ben's obviously done an update. Let's see what it was. Bang, Tonali. I was like, yeah, sure, right, okay. And then I was like, oh, sure. But then obviously it has progressed throughout the night. And whilst it's been progressing, obviously it's been at a time throughout the night, early hours of the morning, when I go on my breaks or my lunch and go out for a vape or whatever, it's peak time. And just seeing it develop. And obviously Ornstein spoke, but I think when Ornstein spoke, he quoted Romano, so it weren't a Ornstein, so to speak, coming out bomber. Well, when he speaks, I listen all the time. So it's gathering pace. I think I know there's a lot of Spurs fans going, yeah, this is Spurs PR. I think there's genuine legs behind it. Now they've just got to get it over the line. If this is what they want, and Zerbi has said, Tonali is my midfielder I want, just like Van Hecker is my, go get it done.
Exactly.
Go get it done.
Look,
And the main thing is, you look at it, is, sorry, but I was going to say, we said that we focus on the defence. We know Van Hecker is the last piece of the kind of the jigsaw, and then it'll be players out. We've been saying, right, let's work on the midfield and the strike force. And it looks like that's exactly what De Zerbi's ordered. And it looks like exactly what the club is trying, and I emphasise the word trying, to do.
Yeah, and look, the reality is, right here, right now, we've heard progression in talks with Van Hecker. We've heard it for Savinho. Now we're hearing it for Tonali. But we haven't got any of these players over the line yet. So we can talk about ambition. We can talk about a new Tottenham. We can talk about the board trying to do different things, and actions speak louder than words. But we've seen nothing. We've seen nothing as of yet. So before we start giving them praise, and before we start saying all these kind of things, and before Danny Kyriakou pipes up in the chat and talks about bigger pictures and all that, then we need to see substance behind it. We need to see players holding that shirt, and we need to see that money spent.
And Ben, this is the big thing. This is why when names like Tonali and Van Hecker come out, even myself, obviously people know where I stand with things. Even yourself, Ben, is like, yeah, sure, whatever, been down this road before, blah, 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 blah. Until they actually do it, a majority of this Spurs fan base, whether it be back home or around the world, are going to go, yeah, we've had this. Been there, seen it, got the T-shirt, blah, blah, blah. And until they actually pull one out the bag and say, right, here you go, this is done, this is happening, there's always going to be that doubt, that lack of lack of confidence, faith, belief, trust. And until they do it, then it's going to be that way. And Spurs just need to start acting like the big club. We've got the funds. We have the world-class stadium, entertainment complex. We have the world-class training ground / spa. Well, now you've got to start putting, as a wise man once said, the furniture needs to be put in.
Exactly. Something I want to get your opinion on, Brian, and I want to get the guys in the chat's opinion as well, because Spurs been linked with Bart Verbruggen a lot over the course of the last month. I don't know if you saw his performance for the Netherlands against Japan, but it wasn't something I was entirely impressed with, and I thought he definitely should have saved one of the goals that Japan scored. Got two hands to it, and I thought it was some weak wrists from him. I mean, for me, I'm looking not just on that performance, but I'm mainly looking at Kinski's performances at the back end of last season and being like, can we not just trust Kinski? Why spend a massive outlay on Bart Verbruggen when we've got Kinski right there performing at the levels that he's performing at right now, finally playing with a bit of confidence as well? And if you go sign a keeper for big money, that's just going to knock his confidence all over again. So for me, like, why not just stick with Kinski?
I am totally and utterly with you. I'm a fan of Kinski. Even when he was picked for Atletico Madrid, I was happy to see him instead of Vicario, because I thought the ball, the possession, obviously he had a howler. We all know what happened. And he came back in because of Vicario's injury. And we all know shot stopping was the kind of aspect we were doubting. But boy, did he show that he's got it in his locker. There are players that will have games like Kinski did at Atletico Madrid, and it will break them. It'll break them. Seasoned professionals will have games like that. Look at Maicon with Gareth Bale, who was never ever. I said, and I still firmly stand by this. I would rather, if we are going to have a summer of summers and spend big money or whatever, I think there is so much to fix with the outfield positions. I would be absolutely fine if Spurs said, right, we're not going to buy a goalkeeper. We are spending big all outfield, whether it be a ball playing midfielder, winger, striker, whatever, and get in a dependable number two or someone to push him, rather than say, I think the only way you go for a goalkeeper now is like what Manchester City did with the Donnarumma. You sign Trafford, dig up to the best, and obviously we're not in that world, but if a goalkeeper the status of Donnarumma or of that level comes about,
100%.
then it's a no-brainer. If Spurs can get a sniff of it, you go for it. But if not, I've got absolutely. If Spurs go and get a top striker, let's say Garassi, like you and me love, we get a Tonali, we get a Savino, and maybe another winger because I want a more guaranteed precision crosser, and we focused all outfield. I've got no drama. No drama whatsoever. I think Kinski can go on and improve and improve and improve, but he is going to need competition because it will be Austin or Luka Gunter, won't it? Unless, even if Vicario's here, I want Kinski number one.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt. I've got absolutely no drama whatsoever starting Kinski. In fact, if he's our number one next season, I've got absolutely no bones with it whatsoever.
Yeah, and instead of not having any bones with it, it's what I preferably want. I want us to stay with Kinski's. I just don't see why we should be spending, 40, 50 million, close to a record fee for a goalkeeper for Verbruggen, when I think, Kinski is completely fine. His development is going really well. They're a similar age. And I think you're spot on. Unless you can get a proper world-class goalkeeper in, don't get a goalkeeper in. Let's stick with Kinski.
Exactly. If we lose out on these Tonalis or whatever for XYZ million, but then we go spend big on a goalkeeper when we got Kinski, it's like, well, why didn't you put that money to get the wages or pay the fee the club wanted for a Tonali, a Garassi, who were XYZ player? Like you said, Kinski, the redemption, I mean, I still think that lead save onto the crossbar is still one of the Vicario doesn't make that save, in my opinion. He simply doesn't. Each game he made a major impact with a save or whatever. I think I'm a big fan of it. If the shirt's yours and you keep playing like that, it's your shirt to lose. Yeah. And I've got, like I said, I would rather Spurs, unless, like we just said, a Donnarumma, a world-class goalie become available, I'd rather every single penny we spend went outfield and go find a dependable, experienced number two that can come in, should it, and focus everything outfield, because there's so much that needs to be addressed outfield.
100%. And I think, you're looking at someone like Carl Darlow, I think, who's on a free at the end of this month. I think he's been fantastic for Leeds this season. So 35 years of age, probably be happy to be a backup, but he would be dependable if we were to call on him. So that's the move I would make. Forget Verbruggen for 50 million. Let's go bring in Carl Darlow for number two.
He's certainly more agile than Fraser Foster, Darlow. But let's face it, most things are. But yeah, that's the thing. Finding a number two goalkeeper is obviously, when you're trying to get them, it needs to be either an elderly experienced or up and coming or not. You know what I mean? So that could be a thing that could, finding a goalkeeper of that standard. Obviously, Darlow on a free would be one. But I think, like we said, the main surgery we need is outfield, and things need to be addressed. And I don't see goalkeeper. Of all the things we need to fix at Tottenham Hotspur, goalkeeper is very far down the list for me.
Yeah, completely agree. But look, I think that is all we have time for today. Brian, thank you so much for coming on once again. Hopefully, the next time we speak, or the next time we speak on air, we'll be announcing an even better bomber than what we heard yesterday. So here's to praying.
I'm sure I'll get a message later on with a bit of foreplay saying, how's your day, how's this, how's that? And there might be an update. I even thought you were going to call me on.
I'm going to be messaging you.
I even thought when you were going on about maybe we'll get a here we go, it was like, try and get me on. But then obviously you brought me on and Sim went back to recover and get better. But always a pleasure to spend time with you. And big up Sammy, big up everyone in the chat. And let's just hope news like this keeps coming. But it's not just news, it becomes breaking news and deal done.
Yeah, exactly. So big up to Brian. Everyone do go subscribe to Tottenham on Tour as well. And we shall speak to you all very, very soon, people. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.